you think the government's going to be a legitimate obstacle for Tesla and Elon here in the next couple of years? How do you think about that?
Yeah, like in this recent Financial Times article or interview with Elon, he said he was 99.9% confident they'll get to level 5 soon, but he said, okay, I'll round it up to 100. And I think there is a slight, perhaps, sense where 0.01%, chance in Elon's mind where he's like, well, it could take longer than expected. There could be, some regulation pushback, et cetera. And I think, and he also mentioned that with self-driving, you could save 90% of the lives out there that would have, been a victim of fatal auto crashes, but the remaining 10% of people who die are going to sue you,
Sure.
And sure. It's this reality where, it's not a very sexy business to be in where you're saving a bunch of lives, but the optics can be, tilted to where you're killing people.
Yeah.
And this is something that is going to be, I think, a huge, huge battle ahead for Tesla and others is, can they win the narrative, that autonomous driving is about saving lives. It's not about the headline pieces of this person died and, this car crashed into this or whatever, because that's a great clickbait story, and that's a great, that's going to get, media outlets to run with it. But, when you take a step back, you're like, wait a minute, you're saving 90% or more, of the lives out there.
Yeah.
Isn't it a good thing? And so, I'm concerned about Missy Cummings, her appointment to NHTSA as senior advisor. She's very, critical and negative about Tesla's efforts. And she's not going to go down without fighting, meaning she's going to put up a fight and others, with this. But I mean, the hope is Elon and Tesla execute meticulously like they have been. They show the data as more and more miles, like you have, just more and more cars. Like, for example, you've got 1 million Teslas out there and you can show data and, you'll get another million and a half perhaps next year. And so this will snowball over time. It's just going to take time for the data to overshadow and outweigh the voices of the critics, right? So yeah, it'll be messy. I'm not as optimistic as some in terms of robotaxi timeline. I used to be more optimistic. Now I'm thinking, yeah, this could take, a few more years than, maybe first anticipated.
Gotcha. And is that because of the exposure you had firsthand with the software? Yeah.
It's in combination where, so it's fascinating. So I've been able to use FSD beta from version 9.0 until now. And initially my reaction was, I was expecting more. I was like, oh man, this is it's stressful, and it's not helping me that much. Yeah. Later on, by version 10 or so, it actually started to get pretty good, actually good enough where I'm like, hey, this is actually helping me drive local streets. Yeah. And I thought that would be a big jump, and it happened quicker than I expected, for it to be a useful driving aid for local streets. What I'm seeing is Tesla is improving it radically fast, but there's still these areas where it just doesn't do well, and it's so hard. And every time it happens, I'm reminded how difficult this problem is.
Sure.
And how it's just such a crazy hard problem. And it gives me more confidence that Tesla is in the runaway lead. And the reason is because I don't think other companies are crazy enough to do what Tesla's doing right now. It's so crazy. And in a way, it's like most companies are forget it, LiDAR, HD maps, just cap it out at 35 miles, 40 miles per hour. That's it.
Gotcha.
That's what makes sense to 99 out of 100 people,
Wow.
And so for Tesla to do what they're doing, it shows me that they're really the only ones, I think, really going for it. They're the only ones really believing in truly autonomous driving, in all situations, generalized autonomous driving. So I don't think they really have much competition. It will take longer than some of us Tesla, fans hope. But all that means is that it's just the longer it takes, it just means that that's how much harder the problem really is, and how much more almost impossible it is for others to solve the problem. It's actually bullish. It's bullish the longer it takes.
For sure, right?
It's just showing the difficulty of the problem.
It's almost like once Tesla gets there, it's almost market dominance, because the damn things, you need so much time and so much data to get it there. Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Do you think that do you think the sort of the potential narrative around how dangerous it's going to be is going to finally get Elon and Tesla to maybe put a PR department together and actually start to fight back? Or maybe Elon, I don't know, gets his own media company? I have no freaking idea. But do you think it's going to incentivize Tesla to finally try to not just have Elon on Twitter, but try to drive the narrative some other way?
Yeah. I think the PR thing is, I'm not sure if we're going to get a PR team as long as Elon is running the company.
Okay.
I just think he realizes he doesn't need one, and he knows that bad press hurts Tesla, but on the flip side, he knows he has a great product. He knows like they've done the right thing in his fanatic focus on the product, and he knows they have a dominant lead in autopilot, autonomous driving, and he knows the data is going to win, and he knows Tesla is in such a good financial position with growing profits that he doesn't see existential risk, let's say with Tesla, right, as a company. So I don't know. It just seems like Elon would just say, hey, we'll double down on what we've been doing, and we'll just, I don't want to spend more energy on PR. The problem with PR, and you might be more familiar with it, is Elon is actually very, very meticulous in the message he presents or what Tesla shares. And like several years ago, I was talking to a Tesla PR, one of the main people there, and she was telling me, she's like, yeah, Elon needs to okay every single thing that comes out. Like, and sometimes like they're waiting on him, just, that's the bottleneck. He's just waiting on his reply. Yeah. And what people don't realize, like, oh, just do a PR department. What they don't realize is certain things Elon cares about. He cares about what the message that gets out from Tesla. And he feels like he needs to okay everything. Like, he needs to okay the messaging on the website and the design. He needs to okay all sorts of stuff, every press release, everything. And that takes up a lot of time and energy and headache for him. And he just doesn't like it, and he just doesn't want to do it. And it's like, he'd rather do another engineering meeting, and make the product better rather than, doing something he doesn't like. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm just not optimistic that Elon will change his mind on this though.
Sure. No, I can tell you, I mean, internally, like there were times where, we had, some freezes around spending or hiring or whatever, when we're going through some sort of a period in the company, and it's like, well, Elon has to prove everything. And I'm like, you tell me Elon's going to go through 40,000 applications and sign off? I'm like, it's just sitting on his desk. It's just a way for him to just be like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Just freeze everything, right? So I can definitely, that's very interesting.